I appreciate you being here today for this meeting. This is, I hope this will be an opportunity for the academics to listen to the industry. The Equine program is now approaching a decade of graduates, and it's an opportunity for us to understand where the graduates are going and what the future looks like. Also hoping that out today we get some people who are out in the world of the equine industry who can step back and use their crystal ball to kind of help us look at what we need to be doing as we look at another decade as graduates from the Equine program. Before we get started, though, I need to thank particularly our sponsors. NARIC, the North American Equine Ranch Council, is one of the two sponsors of this, and then the National Thoroughbred Racing Association is the provided the sponsorship that made this possible as we had some changes due to some health issues and our other partners, our other academic partners. So I want to particularly thank the NTRA for stepping in and making this happen. Well, the focus initially on this is towards University of Kentucky. We're part of a much broader collaboration, and how the equine industry is supported goes everything from the level of grooms, such as the Groom Elite program, all the way through horseshoeing and other professional programs like the North American Racing Academy. We have representatives also from Hartbury in the UK and University of Guelph. University of Guelph has an equine program that is probably the most similar to ours, since it also focuses on not just the animal science, but also includes the management and the broader support of the industry. So, before I go any further, though, I would like to thank the person who made this possible, the other person who made this possible, who's Dean Nancy Cox, who recognized that there was a need to bring together the pieces of the equine programs that were spread out throughout the university and create kind of a front door to research, education, and extension. So I'm going to pass it over to Dean Cox to welcome you. Thank you.
This is an exciting day for the College of Agriculture, Food and Environment. We've been working on the whole idea of how we are more responsive to industry needs. We did a summit a couple of years ago on research needs, and we're still working through some of those. And today we're going to try to learn about workforce needs. And I can't thank everybody here enough, especially our distinguished speakers. And Mick as our first full-time UK Ag Equine Programs Director. But we have two former directors here, Jill Stowe and Jamie McLeod, who really put their heart and soul into building this program. It kind of started, if you want to think about it, kind of started with a caterpillar, honestly, in 2001, because the series of events that occurred after that made us recognize at the College of Ag that we needed to serve the industry in a more comprehensive way. I think it made the industry realize that they needed the College of Ag more than they thought, and so it's been a great harmony ever since then, with the former Dean Smith declaring in 2005. Faculty love for deans to declare things and say we're going to do it. Believe me, not really. But Dean Smith declared that we were going to have an equine initiative that resulted in an undergraduate major and a portfolio of many other programs. We thank Dr. Lori Garkovich, strategic planner extraordinaire, for helping us get on the right road for this. We've got an Equine Programs Advisory Committee. We have David Schweitzer here from that. David's somewhere, but he won't raise his hand probably. But anyway, and Fred Sarver, who's coming later. Dan Rosenberg, who's here, gave a lot of early help to our curriculum in the program, and also has served on the Bluff Equine Research Board. There's Dan over there. If you're staff at the college, raise your hand. If you're faculty, you're not the staff, but you can say, okay, faculty or staff. Okay. Current students. Current students? Couple. Former students. Great. So that's what we're all about here, is that workforce pipeline. So thanks again for all the contributions that you all as speakers and panelists will make to our program today. I know Mick and his team are committed to getting these results down and really helping transform our program. So we do have the modest goal of being the best equine program in the world, and you're going to help us get there. So thank you very much.
Because of the challenges, this was a good time of year to have this event, but there's obviously challenges for academics to participate as we get to the end of the semester. So it is being videotaped, and our intention on this is to bring in the other educational programs as a part of this, and we've been discussing that as we've moved forward. So prior to this event, we asked the participants to fill out surveys. And before I pass it off to Alex to talk about what the equine industry looks like, I want to share a couple of thoughts that we got out of the program. When we started talking about what excites the participants about the equine industry, the attributes of graduates, not only the UK graduates, but other programs that we work with, as well as opportunities for enhancement. There were a couple themes that were just really clearly obvious. It's an industry that's recovering from pre-recession numbers. We're in an industry that's competing with other entertainment and leisure time activities. But the equine industry has the unique passion associated with the horse that these other leisure activities do not share. And by putting the horse at the center of this communication with the public and the passion, bringing this passion, we can deliver a lot of other things to the industry and to the graduates that would not be possible without the passion for these incredible animals. The one overarching theme, though, and I think it was missing from maybe one of the respondents, and I'm sure it was an oversight, is we consistently hear that our graduates need to continue to develop their communication skills. It's one of those things that was this constant theme throughout the whole process. So as you're thinking through the panels today and listening to the panels today, think about the core skills that you are using in your job. And it doesn't matter whether you're at a lab bench or whether you're going to veterinary clinics or whether you're tweeting and working on the communications end of one of the, for example, USCF or one of the other organizations. Think about these core skills that are needed. But before we do that, it's like to understand where the students are going, we have to understand what the equine industry is. Alex Waldrop, who's the CEO of the National Thoroughbred Racing Association, has agreed to kick this whole meeting off. He's really wearing two hats today, though, because the American Horse Council is a new initiative to scale and evaluate the size of the equine industry. And so, as a board member of the American Horse Council, Alex is here, but also as CEO and one person who seems to have his pulse on the scale of the horse racing industry. Alex, thank you.
Thank you, Mick, for that introduction. Mayor Cox, thank you for inviting me to be here today to speak with you. I want to commend the UK Equine program for organizing this summit. It's a great idea. It's a great way to provide leadership on an academic level for an industry that certainly needs that, and I commend you. I'm a graduate of the University of Kentucky College of Law. I'm a 25-year participant in the horse racing and breeding industry here in Kentucky and nationally at the NTRA. I want you to know I'm honored to address this esteemed group because I think you, in many ways, are the future of this business. My analysis this morning will be introductory, it'll be broad in scope. I'm hopeful that others will provide more detail as we go throughout the morning, and that panelists and speakers will provide context for all of the things that I hope to hit lightly on this morning. I will say in advance, I hope to challenge you a little bit. I don't mean to criticize, but part of my remarks are going to be forward-thinking and how we can improve things here at the University of Kentucky and in the horse industry generally. There's a lot of ground to cover, so I'm going to get started. I want to begin, however, with a quick story about Reverend Thomas Settle. Reverend Settle was a native of England who came to Lexington in the post-World War era to start an Episcopal church. He dreamed of one day preaching in the pulpit of a beautiful stone church somewhere in downtown Lexington. And he realized that dream in a most unlikely way. And you're thinking, where is this going? Stay with me. In 1923, there was much tension in the bluegrass over a bill introduced in the Kentucky legislature to abolish pari-mutuel wagering. Yes, in Kentucky, to abolish pari-mutuel wagering. See, few people realize that the Volstead Act, the federal prohibition on alcohol sales, also negatively affected betting on horse racing. Meaning, in fact, most horse racing facilities in America were shuttered for some period of time during Prohibition, but not Kentucky. And here's why. There was this mass meeting to debate the merits of this bill to ban pari-mutuel wagering in Kentucky, and Reverend Settle, of all people, was invited to speak against the ban, which he did so staunchly, arguing that pari-mutuel betting was a fairer way of gambling than the bookmaking that would surely follow. He reasoned that enactment of the ban would drive the horse breeding and industry out of Kentucky. Reverend Settle was so eloquent in his remarks to that group that he was invited to speak before the Kentucky legislature. And he did so. And in one of those rare moments of true history, the measure was defeated by only one vote. And the rest, as they say, is history. So over the next 5 years, horsemen from across the country raised nearly $200,000, which was a lot of money. It's a lot of money today. It was a substantial amount in those days, to build a church in demonstration of their gratitude to Reverend Settle. Contributions came from all over the country. And those contributions built what is now the Church of the Good Shepherd, which is located on Main Street, just south of downtown Lexington. If you go to Good Shepherd, where I happen to attend, you will find a plaque in the narthex relating this amazing story. I tell this story not because of any religious significance, though I do find it interesting how religion seems to pop up in politics in this state. And there may be one or two cynics in the crowd who may think that Reverend Settle had this all planned all along, and maybe he made those remarks in order to have this result. I am not one of those people. I will also remind you that it took him 5 years to raise that $200,000. Nonetheless, I think this story is important because I think it frames the issues that I'll discuss this morning very well. It demonstrates something that has been true of horse racing and breeding from its inception, that thoroughbred racing's agricultural roots that sink deeply into the bluegrass farms of Kentucky, have helped pari-mutuel horse racing and breeding spread across the country and the world over the past century. I plan to explore these roots and the spread of this amazing agricultural, sports, entertainment, and yes, sports gambling business this morning. I will also explore some of the challenges that face this business in the modern era, and most importantly, ways that UK's Equine program can help the horse industry face these challenges. So my topic today, I happened to read it before I came today, which was good because I was planning to speak about something else, but I got back on point. My topic is equine industry perspectives. What is the industry and how big is it? Well, let me say up front that most of my remarks will be focused on the thoroughbred industry because that's what I know. And frankly, that's where much of the detailed financial information is available. Also, I want to take up the issue of the size of the business first, before I talk about what the industry is. So I'm going to flip. our process this morning. I'm going to talk first about science and then about just exactly what is this thing called the equine industry. So, I'm going to start with a quick look at Lexington and the bluegrass, then move quickly to the U.S., and then finally with a brief overview of Racing and Breeding International. So we're going to sort of look in concentric circles as we go out from here. So let's begin. As you hopefully are aware, Fayette County is the largest producer of horses in the United States. In fact, according to a 2013 study of the UK Community and Economic Development Initiative of Kentucky, great resource, by the way. That's an impressive organization, and they do some great work. Businesses established or located in Fayette County accounted for some $410 million in equine sales in 2007. It's a little dated, but it's still relevant. To put this in perspective, just how dominant Fayette County is in the horse sales, consider that the next highest ranking counties were Woodford County, which is 213 million, Marion, Florida, which I think is Ocala, at 128 million, Bourbon County at 120 million, Jessamine County at 96 million, and Scott County at 46 million. The unfortunate news is that this study is a bit dated and no doubt overstates the size of the business in 2017 for reasons I'll explain later. But the good news for Kentuckians and for UK's equine program grads is that except for Marion County, the top counties in equine sales are all adjacent to each other here in the bluegrass region of Kentucky. Moreover, following these 6 counties, you have to total up the next 161 ranked counties combined in the U.S. to equal Fayette County's equine sales. Obviously, there can be no doubt that Fayette County is the thoroughbred breeding capital of the world. Keeneland and the Red Mile add to this impact dramatically. This same 2013 study indicates that the presence of a horse racetrack in the county leads to the creation of an estimated 15 establishments in the recreation industry and adds an annual payroll to the hospitality, recreation, and retail industries of totaling $88 million, with the retail trade leading the way. In fact, the study indicates that Keeneland and the Red Mile lead to a 45% increase in recreation industry sales, which in Fayette County translates to almost $74 million per year in additional sales. So these racetracks, all of this local data proves once again a metaphor that I like to use, that the racetrack is but the tip of a vast economic iceberg that in most communities, that is communities other than Lexington, where horse farms are celebrated and even protected by very progressive land use planning. In most communities, the broad economic impact of horse racing and breeding is often ignored because it's invisible. Looking now at the state of Kentucky, the economic impact of the equine industry is well documented. Several studies have come to similar conclusions. The annual direct economic output is almost $1.8 billion, with a statewide direct employment effect of 32,000 jobs. Considering the indirect effects of ancillary businesses, the impact of the equine industry swells to $3 billion in annual economic output and more than 40,000 jobs statewide. Clearly, horses have a major economic impact on Kentucky's economy as a whole. Now, at the national level, the American Horse Council in 2005 issued a definitive study on the U.S. horse industry, which concluded that the horse industry contributes almost $40 billion in direct economic impacts to the U.S. on an annual basis. The American Horse Council noted that that 3 segments of the horse industry, racing, showing, and recreation, each generated between 10 and 12 billion in annual direct impacts. That number swells to more than $100 billion when considering total direct and indirect economic impacts nationwide. Now, in 2005, there were almost 2 million horse owners in the U.S., with another 2 million who were connected indirectly through volunteership or perhaps through family memberships. Jobs in the horse industry nationally then totaled 1.4 million full-time equivalents annually, with almost 500,000 coming from direct spending within the industry. The number of horses in the U.S. at that time was a little more than 9 million, with about 4 million involved in recreation and another 3 million participating in horse shows. And as an aside, I'm happy to report that the American Horse Council, of which, as was said, I've been a member of the Board of Trustees since 2007. We have now recently commissioned an update of this important national study, and by the end of this year, we hope to present the results of that study. I think it goes without saying that the intervention of the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009 and the declines that occurred throughout the economy affected horse racing. So we need that update because many of these numbers perhaps may be overstated and perhaps some are understated. We'll wait and see. And I think I'm correct in saying that this update will include an update specific to Kentucky as well. So we'll look forward to seeing that. Now let's continue to look at the data, but I want to focus on the international information that we have available because this is, I frankly think, is some of the most interesting information. Most of the data I was able to locate was collected by the International Federation of Horse Racing Authorities from its member organizations. Now, let's begin with the breeding industry globally. The total number of horses involved in breeding nationwide, including mares, stallions, and foals, from 2005 to 2015, have been trending downwards since 2007, with most significant declines again occurring after 2009, which corresponds again with the Great Recession. The data shows that the U.S.'s share of total global production dropped from about 30% in 2006 to just over 23% in 2015. Focusing specifically on the total number of foals worldwide, the data points to significant declines in global foal crop from a high of 121,000 foals in 2006 to only 92,000 foals worldwide in 2015. That's a 25% decline in the last 10 years. And during this same 10-year period, the U.S. foal crop dropped by almost 40%. It's a number to keep in mind. This declining foal crop, this declining foal crop, or perhaps more pointedly, the decline in owners willing and able to purchase bloodstock, is clearly a challenge for racing in the U.S. and beyond. If you couple a steep decline in foals available to race with a flat or slightly declining number of races, this will eventually lead to fewer runners per race. Or, as we say in racing, it leads to short fields. And short fields are disliked by bettors. So that means there will be smaller wagering pools resulting in declines in handle and eventually less in prize money for owners. And less prize money perpetuates the decline in owners buying horses, and so starts this vicious downward cycle that racing must do everything we can to prevent. Clearly, stabilizing and growing field size is critical to the future of U.S. racing, especially as it relates to betting. The good news is that the recent trends indicate that tracks and horsemen are working together to tailor many race meetings to the horse population available, and were necessary to reduce the number of races and even race days, which has the desirable effect of increasing runners per race to the delight of these all-important horse players. I do know that tomorrow, San Diego Park has taken the extraordinary step of actually canceling a day's card of races. They're doing that due to lack of interest. And that's a symptom of the problem. Foal crop nationally is now hovering at about 20,600 per year. That's down from almost 40,000 annually in the early part of 2005, 2006 of this century. And that's all that should be concerning for all of us who make our living in the horse industry. So let's quickly turn our attention to betting worldwide. Again, I'm making the link between horses and betting, going back to Reverend Settle. It's all combined. Global betting volume has been above 80 billion euros since 2000, 80 billion euros. I think that translates into a lot of dollars. I can't do the conversion today, but it's right around 100 billion. Declining foal crop, perhaps more pointedly, the decline in owners willing to, Hey, well, it has fluctuated from year to year. This is the handle. It grew to almost 100 billion euro in 2015. There's a major expansion going on around the world. However, that growth is happening in Asia, not in the U.S. We are far behind other regions in the amount that. Asia now accounts for about 60% of all wagering. And Asia is, we're really talking about Japan, Hong Kong, and Australasia, Australia, Singapore, and that region of the world. The Mediterranean region now accounts for about 30% of all wagering. The U.S. now accounts for less than 10% of all wagering globally. During the period from 2003 to 2015, the U.S. has experienced a sharp decline in wagering, mainly, again, because of this Great Recession. In 2013, our handle peaked at about 15 billion U.S. This declined now to somewhere in the range of 10 to 11 billion annually. That's almost a 30% decline in handle. One interesting point related to prize money versus paid. This is one that distinguishes the U.S. from almost every other country in the world. Here in the U.S., racetrack casinos, also known as racinos, account for a significant percentage of our purse money. Perhaps as much as 35% of the total prize money in the U.S. racetracks is now generated by slot machines and other casino games at racinos. 35%. Write that number down. That's a significant change. So in the U.S., we no longer view prize money as solely related to wager. So the inescapable conclusion of this global overview is A, the strength of Asia relative to the other two global regions. Well, we are certainly strong. There's strength in various countries throughout the world. Asia is gaining momentum while other regions are not. So you want to look at the future of horse racing, look east. Also, one dynamic that can't be ignored in this analysis is the impact on horse racing from other forms of gambling. Competition, especially from casino and sports gambling, is continuing its negative impacts on horse racing. Understand that gaming policy in the U.S., like horse racing policy, is highly decentralized. In most cases, laws differ greatly from state to state, and sometimes from community to community within a state. This provincialism is at the heart of many of the challenges that we face in the U.S. But this decentralization has not slowed down casinos one bit. In fact, you've seen a meteoric rise of casino gaming nationwide. Not only at commercial casinos, at Las Vegas and around the country, but also at racinos and even on travel lands. This rise in casino gaming since 2003 is almost 100% increase in the amount of availability of this form of wagering. With the largest percentage growth, again, something to remember, almost 1,200% at what are now 49 and growing racetrack casinos nationwide. 49, almost 50 of our racetracks now, their primary form of entertainment is casino gaming. And don't forget that in the U.S. we are in the midst of an explosion of sports gambling as well, the vast majority of which we estimate to be about over $100 billion. It's illegal and unregulated. Look for that to change in the near future as the American Gaming Association and others are looking at ways to repeal or replace, to use the common vernacular in Washington these days, Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, commonly known as PASPA, which outlaws sports betting other than horse racing throughout the country except for Las Vegas and a few other small locations. One other major challenge for the horse industry, one that is far beyond the scope of my remarks today, is the impact of an explosion of interest and perhaps even obsession with animal welfare in the United States. Whether it's SeaWorld's killer whales or Ringling Brothers' circus elephants, industries that rely on animals as their primary performers and participants, that includes the horse industry, must be prepared to navigate some very treacherous waters ahead. This is not just a PR crisis, believe you me. This is a crisis of confidence on the part of the public. To navigate these waters will require that industry like ours deploy strategies that are credible and effective in ensuring the safety of our athletes, both human and equine. How we as an industry answer all of these challenges in the coming years is the key to the future of the horse industry. And when I say all these challenges, I'm thinking of all the competitive pressures as well as the horse welfare challenges. Indeed, the challenge for horse racing and breeding for all equine pursuits in the 21st century is not just local, not even regional or national. Our challenge is just to think globally about how Kentucky's rich tradition in equine agribusiness will compete in a very challenging sports, gaming, and entertainment environment in the coming years. That is what students graduated today from the UK Equine program need most of all. A broad range of skills and attitudes that will help them participate in a rapidly changing international environment for horses and horse-related activities. Don't think that because Fayette County is a dominant player in today's market, that UK is immune from these challenges. Nothing can be taken for granted anymore. Just look at the changes happening at Keeneland. With its global brand, Keeneland now attracts a diverse international clientele, including buyers from nearly every state and 50 countries, encompassing Europe, the Middle East, Central and South America, Australia, Asia, and South Africa, Russia and India as well. This is the vision that now supports the Keeneland Signature September sale, its November breeding stock sale, and the January all horses of all ages auction. Like Keeneland, other equine businesses and activities must learn to cooperate and collaborate across borders between interested stakeholder groups. And Keeneland is a leader in the NTRA's safety and integrity line certification process, because they put their money where their heart is, in protecting the safety and well-being of every human and equine athlete competing on a daily basis. Nothing short of this sort of all-out commitment to the safety and welfare of equine participants will suffice in the years ahead. Now, with these challenges and opportunities as our backdrop, let's take a closer look at the horse industry from the perspective of jobs and other economic opportunities. Let's look at the industry from the perspective of a graduate from the UK Equine program. So, finally, to the first question posed in the title of my remark. What is the equine industry? Well, one list of employment opportunities might include breeding farm operations, riding, training, showing, nonprofit association, veterinary services, publicity, sales, even event management. Things like the World Equestrian Games, the Triple Crown races, the Breeders' Cup, international events like the Royal Ascot. This list could go on, and I'm not here to give you that list. We've talked previously about the significant economic impacts of the horse industry locally, nationally, and internationally. The scope of the industry is undeniable. And today it is challenged by relatively stable. It's challenged, but steady. Even if somewhat smaller than it was pre-recession. The real question is this: what is the future of the industry, and how can UK's graduates best participate in that future? Let me say with some humility, I'm not an academic. So I'm on a little thin ice here, but I'm going to say I do. I'll look at your curriculum, and I think it's fair to say, by looking at that curriculum, that much of your emphasis is on jobs directly related to the production of horses. And well, it should be, because we produce horses in Central Kentucky. That makes a lot of sense, given the stature of the horse production industry in Kentucky. Yet, when I look at your pie chart, your materials, showing alumni jobs within the equine industry as of April of this year, I'm struck by the fact that relatively few of your graduates are actually getting jobs in farm management and breeding. It looks like about 11%. Now, there's another 12% that are finding jobs in equine medical fields. And these are there's undoubtedly in the bluegrass. That's only about a quarter of the graduates. The rest are branching out to a variety of fields, not directly supported by your curriculum, as I understand it. Well, I'm not criticizing. This is only an observation. More importantly, it reflects the new reality of the industry in Central Kentucky, where a declining foal crop has caused major declines, even the closing of a few farms and sales operations. The question you have to be asking yourself is this: where do we place all these graduates in the future? How do we break out of the emphasis on job production in the horse industry, on what economists might call the input side of the equation, where there's already a ready supply in the workforce? How do we focus on the output side of the industry, where graduates participate in the effort to create value in and demand for the horse? This is unquestionably a greater challenge for your department because there are relatively few specific horse development offerings available in areas such as economics, analytics, marketing, information technology, social media, and even legal training. Take a look at the NTRA for a minute. We are categorically on the side of creating value for horse owners and breeders and making sure that there is a demand for horses in the future. Our board of directors represents an array of jobs and career opportunities. Of course, we have board members who represent the output side of the equation, breeders, breed registries, horsemen's association. But we also have major representation from the demand side. Owners, sales companies, racetracks, advanced deposit wagering companies, technology providers, marketing organizations, farm equipment and supply providers, auto manufacturers, technology providers, media companies, an array of industry sponsors who look to grow their market share by growing our business. Our staff is populated by marketers, communications professionals, social media experts, accountants, lawyers, and others with specific skill sets unique to the job of growing, racing, and breeding. It seems to me that UK's Equine program would do well to consider ways in which it can help its graduates seek careers across the spectrum, from horse farm personnel to marketers, economists, analysts, and social media and technology providers. Those are the graduates the horse industry needs in today's environment, and those are the skills we'll need to navigate this competitive landscape in which the horse industry finds itself today. You want to make sure there's always a market for these incredible animals produced in such rich supply here in central Kentucky, and start focusing on ways to not only supply the industry with graduates to care for these animals, but think about ways to use the UK educational environment to supply graduates prepared to help create demand for these amazing animals. Collaborate with the Gatton School to create a joint degree program in business or finance. Find ways to combine the love of horses with a skill in technology. Technology. I cannot say that word enough to you. That is the future of this business. Yes, we are animals, but technology is going to drive the future. There's nothing more important for our future. Who would have believed 10 years ago that online wagering would dominate the pari-mutuel wagering landscape? Nobody gives horse racing credit for diversifying into technology to reach new bettors. Yet today, almost 50% of money wagered comes from online sources. I said 50%. When you go to Equine and place a bet, only half the bets that are being, in fact, far fewer than half the bets placed at Equine are coming on track. But almost 50% of those bets off track are coming from online sources. And that number's only going to grow. Work with UK law to build graduates interested in tackling the field of equine law. I can assure you the jobs are out there. But here's the catch. Not all of these graduates will be able to stay in Central Kentucky. They take on the challenge of focusing on the demand side of our business. The jobs are national and even international. But they have to look easy. The equine industry programs that understand this phenomenon are placing graduates nationwide. But that's the way the industry is spread. Perhaps this is the downside for some of the graduates who would never want to leave home. But if I take another look at that pie chart of referred to above, many of your graduates are already leaving the industry, if not the area. Keep them in the industry, place them broadly, teach them the need to create demand for our Central Kentucky product, and they will likely take up that challenge. And who knows, with their new field and sound skills, who's to say they won't someday come back to Central Kentucky with those skills? Find themselves making real contributions to the horse industry. Take the example of into the interior zone, Steve Cook, who's with us this morning. You're going to hear from him later. Steve, a diehard Central Kentucky native, a UK Ag Economics graduate, spent several years running the racing department at Woodbine Racecourse in Toronto, Canada. That's Toronto's premier racetrack. He never could have returned to Central Kentucky last year to join the NTRA as head of our nationally recognized Safety and Integrity Alliance had he not left home to work at Woodbine. Steve is now a real leader in the horse industry nationally. He's setting standards for safety and integrity. And as I said to you, those are vitally important standards. But he is the key to the future of this business and to this program. That's how UK can create a program that has national appeal and impact. This is your challenge and your opportunity. So, in conclusion, I ask that you consider the potential for the UK Equine program to be a national leader. You've made very positive steps by hiring Nick Peterson to run your program. Nick has the perspective, he has the contacts, and he certainly has the academic credentials to make this great program even better. And I urge you to use Nick's insights and his abilities to guide you on this path. The future is not only about supply, but also demand. Don't assume the breeding industry will always be here. Think cold. Think tobacco. Work to graduate students who are ready, willing, and able to take on the challenges facing the horse industry in the competitive new world in which we find ourselves. In this regard, just think about how the traditionally bound Kentucky bourbon industry has reinvigorated itself by focusing more on demand, global marketing and promotion, and less on supply. And yet, bourbon production is sky high as a result. I urge the faculty and staff of the UK Equine program to think globally. Otherwise, there may not be anything left to promote locally. Thank you very much.